Let's start our discussion of the basic elements with the element point. A point is a basic mark such as a dot, a pixel, or a brushstroke. A collection of points is called an array. An array of points can be great because you can create an entire image with an array, but that image retains the energy of all the individual parts. There's an example of an array. So let's look at some examples of point that are used in graphic design and fine art. So first we'll look at point in the context of graphic design, and here you see the Mohawk paper logo from 2012. And the dots and lines refer to the process by which paper is produced and printed. It's a clever logo because it refers to the thing it's talking about. It's also very simple. It's only really using lines and points. Let's look at the point in the context of fine art. We couldn't really discuss the point without talking about Seurat's A Sunday on Le Grand Jatte. This is a really famous painting, and it's rather large in scale. You may have heard of the term pointillism. Another word for pointillism is divisionism. It relies on the dots to mix together optically. So what's happening is that each of these tiny dots is a pure color like red or blue, and in a place where you clearly see purple, what you're really seeing is just a combination of blue and red dots, and your eye is doing the color mixing. So it's an interesting idea. Seurat was an important part of the post-impressionist movement. Here's an image for scale. If you've seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off, you'll hopefully remember the scene where Cameron is staring into the little girl's eyes. And as the camera zooms in closer and closer to the little child's face, it sort of disappears. Her face becomes a mush of various brushstrokes and stops looking like a face altogether. It's a really great scene. If you revisit that movie, look out for it. And the last thing I wanted to show you is that there is a pointillize filter in Photoshop. So I took this photograph and pointillized it just by throwing a filter on it in Photoshop. So you don't necessarily need to go through 2 years worth of dot making to create a pointillist piece these days, although this one does look a little more sterile than Seurat's does. I threw in a little bit of a background to make it look less weird. You know, this just gives you a sense of how ubiquitous the idea of pointillism is in fine art, and how important the point is both in fine art and in graphic design.